Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Going to start off with a fabulous musician. He is kicking off his first tour on March the 2nd in North Bay. He's going to be making a stop here in Ottawa March 4th at the Shankman Arts Centre. Before we sit down with him, we're going to give you a little taste of what you can expect when Adrian Sutherland arrives here in Ottawa. Here's one of his fabulous songs. It's called Magic Hits.
Took me by surprise. Kinda blew up on my mind. Sometimes things get rough, sometimes tough. Must be more to life than this. Standing on the sidelines, waiting for the highlights, yeah. Must be more to life than this. Praying for the weekend, waiting till the magic hits.
That is from his JUNO Nominated album called When the Magic Hits, and he joins us here on Daytime Ottawa. Adrian, welcome to the show. Great to have you here. And first of all, congratulations. 2 nominations, one for a JUNO Award, one for a Canadian Folk Music Award. Let's talk about that song, first of all, before we get into a little bit about yourself and your musical background. Tell me about Magic Hits and the inspiration behind it.
Well, that song, I absolutely had fun collaborating with a couple of writers here that are Toronto-based, and making that album for me was a real labor of love. I absolutely enjoyed making that album. It's something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and when we started to get some of the recognition we did, it certainly felt like it was magic. So it couldn't have been more fitting.
What was that recording process like? It's always exciting, going into the recording studio. It's very different from performing live in front of an audience, of course. But what is recording like for you, and what was the process like?
Well, this was different than anything I've ever done before because I was completely isolated during the pandemic. So we recorded that entire album remotely. I worked out of my Sea Container studio in Attawapiskat. And that video that you saw, we actually shot on an iPhone in Attawapiskat. So it was like we had to get really creative in order for us to make that album. And it's quite remarkable how it all turned out.
Earlier on in this month, you released a new single. It is called Better. And there's a lot of symbolism behind this song and the art around it. Tell me about Better.
Yeah, well, I worked with Nick Perot. He's been our graphic designer for over a decade since I started pursuing music professionally. Nick was there right from the beginning, so he's really talented, great at what he does, and is really about making sure that he captures the right images for what I represent, especially being First Nation and Indigenous. And the goose that we see on the cover of that single, Better, it really symbolizes what the Cree people are in our region. It's a big part of what we do, harvesting many thousands of geese that come north and migrate. That's been part of our diet for thousands of years. So it really good on him for capturing that. And the song itself, it really is about the people in my life that I absolutely love, like my family, my friends, and they truly make me a better person.
You talked about coming into, now doing music as your career. I'm interested to know about, what was the start? Where did music come into your life, Adrian?
Well, it started as a boy. My mom was a guitar player. She played the organ as well. So She learned to play guitar at the residential school in Fort Albany at the St. Anne's Residential School. So that was her thing. I think for her, it was just a way for her to probably just to sort of get away from some of the horrors she experienced at that place. So she was my first and biggest inspiration. And then I started to kind of noodle around a little bit in my teens, and then in my early adulthood, I was really interested in music. Unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way. I became a father at a young age and had to go to school, like get a job, and sort of focus on those things. And I put music on the back burner for many years, up until about maybe 12 years ago when I decided to pick it up again and start writing.
Describing your childhood, are some of those stories, some of those stories come into your music and inspired some of the music in that album?
Absolutely. I draw a lot of my lyrical ideas and themes from my experiences growing up in Attawapiskat in the far north. So some of my views as an Indigenous person to kind of spill into the music. Some of the writing is a little bit politically driven. Some of it is maybe I would say one song is really politically charged. But I mean, a lot of my experiences, especially around a lot of the challenges and issues that we face as Indigenous people in this country, it really finds its way into the music, the culture, the belief system, the spirituality, everything about who I am. I guess I try to draw on all those parts of who I am and put it in my music.
Off the top, I mentioned you're nominated for a Canadian Folk Music Award and a JUNO Award. Tell me what that means to you, and maybe how you found out the news.
Well, for the JUNO nod, we were actually watching the nominations live over the internet, my manager and I. So that was it was really difficult for me to actually believe when I first heard the nomination and my name, and it didn't quite really set in till later on in the day when I started to. When some of the congratulations were starting to come in to our team, and so to me, I think it's a big. It's a big milestone for me as an artist, and I think both nominations. I think first and foremost we make music because we love to, and we try to put out music into the world to try to make it a better place, and to get the recognition as an artist, I think is always. I guess secondary, I guess is how I would put it.
Right.
It's not always a priority for me, but I definitely am honored to get that recognition.
Kicking off your first tour, you must be excited. Tell me about what people can expect when you roll into Ottawa.
Well, it's my first real solo tour anyway, since I've been playing for quite a few years with a four-piece band, but this will be my first solo tour, so I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest, and it's been a few years since I've been out there playing, so North Bay is going to be the first show, and I'll be in Ottawa Saturday 4th, and I've been working hard on these songs, and I'm really excited about the show and some of the stories I'm going to share.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you here in Ottawa, Adrian. Congratulations on all your success so far, and I'll remind viewers as I say goodbye, really appreciate the time again, Adrian. Shankman Arts Centre, that is on March the 4th. You can go to shankmanarts.ca to get your tickets. We'll be right back after this.